best hack at BT Hacks.
Fire alarm right above you.
I'm pretty certain it will work. He recorded that one. He recorded.
Dude, it's gonna be so funny seeing it on my
If we don't win.
So my friends and I are very used to losing. But in the past year or so, we found something that we were actually kind of good at. Meet the Hackathon. If you don't know what a hackathon is, it's essentially a small competition where engineers will come together and build something. And so far my team has a bit of a win streak going. We've participated in 2 hackathons and so far we've won both of them. So when we heard about a 36-hour hackathon at Virginia Tech, we just knew we had to go. Since it was a 36-hour hackathon, it started on a Friday, meaning that the 4-hour drive down south was gonna have to wait until after we finished classes. Because of this, we didn't get down there until about an hour after the competition started. But after we got down there, we met up with the other half of our team, and we started coming together with designs and ideas of things that we wanted to do. For this competition, we essentially wanted to build our own smartwatch from scratch. The name of this masterpiece, CAT, or Computer Assisted Therapy. The idea behind this was sort of like putting Baymax on your wrist. We wanted to make a device that would help people with support through mental and health emergencies. The idea was that if you needed help, you could talk to the watch and it would help you. Along with that, if something was wrong with the sensors, it could display an image on it that would be a happy cat if everything was good, or a sad cat if everything was bad. Cool. But now we had to build it. We started with dividing up the work into what we were all best at doing. Along with that, we also started designing our first prototype for the case and the actual watch itself for CAT, so we could get that 3D printed, since 3D printing takes a bit of time and we only have 36 hours. After a little bit of work, I ended the night with a much needed burger and what would hopefully be some good sleep. After sleeping for an unplanned 6 hours,
What's up?
You up? Oh, wait, I guess he is.
we met up with the other half of our team and we found something to eat for lunch and finally got back to work. Around this time, we started actually getting to work on building the physical hardware for CAT. So this would include putting all the sensors together, finishing up designs to get the boxes for the sensors and Raspberry Pi printed, and of course, some very, very safe soldering practices.
He's working. Is that lead?
I don't think so.
Dude, there's a fire alarm right above you.
No way, you just said there's a fire alarm right above him.
I'll just breathe it all in.
And then of course, on my end of things, I have finally gotten the microphone to work and send speech to text data to ChatGPT and then give you a text output, which was a very good place to start. Have I fallen? Did I fall? Quit. 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 Exit. I think I have to spell it. And after a few more hours of working to try and get an audio output, I got bored and decided that now would be the time to start coloring for a very reasonable amount of time. After what might have been a bit too long of a break of coloring, I finally got back to work on the voice output function, which was taking a lot longer than it should have for various reasons. Along with that, we were having some difficulties of 3 of us trying to use the Raspberry Pi at once, which it didn't really like. We were trying to all install different things, run code, all of that stuff. And each one of the things that we were trying to do in and of itself was enough to make the Raspberry Pi unhappy. So when all 3 of us were doing it, it was nearly impossible to get it done. Now with 3 hours remaining, I had finally got the output response to work, and although it still had some issues to work out, the important part was that it worked at all.
I need to just like stand next to it and ask, and just ask what my heart rate is. What is my heart rate? 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 What is my heart rate?
Now we had only 1 hour left before the project submission, and at this point we were all very stressed out. We had been awake for what was almost 24 hours, and the tension was definitely weighing down on us. With only an hour left, we still had to complete our presentation to give to judges, train all of our teammates on what the project actually was and what it could do, and we had to finish our write-up, which was required for submission, none of which had been even started. So with an hour left, we started rushing to get all of it done, and of course, it wasn't the best. But after a very, very stressful hour, we finally got all of it done and submitted, and all there was to do now was wait for judging to start. All right, team. How we feeling, team?
I think I feel like just after Drexel, except Drexel.
Drexel, we had
were
some
better.
positives. At Drexel, so usually
One
how it
guy
works.
was smiling big.
Usually there's multiple judges, and they'll like all come together for the total score. This time it was just like that guy.
Pointed question. So, I mean, he knew what he was talking about. He knew we weren't.
Yeah.
I think we're still in the fight. I think it comes down to impact. Most of these presentations do not argue impact well.
I'll take it.
That guy liked us.
Really liked us.
He started talking about the 3 different like frameworks.
Yeah, he was like.
He was like, hell right, brother, hell right.
But after all of it was over, the only thing we could do was wait. And there's only one question on all of our minds: were the last 36 hours all for nothing? Finally, the time came for us to enter the closing ceremony. And there it would be decided in this overcrowded, overfilled auditorium who the winners would be. Who would go home with MacBooks, and who would go home with nothing but a little bit extra exhaustion. Here it would be decided who had just wasted 36 hours of their time.
Hex. If we don't win,
And as the countdown started, we began holding our breaths to win whatever prize we were going to get. The biggest thing was securing our 3rd victory in a row.
It's been amazing to watch it, and I'm so excited for the ceremonies where we get to present all of your winners. The best hack at BT Hacks.
Needless to say, we didn't win. And that was frustrating. I could talk about how it felt like the judging was rigged, how the team that did win made a website questionnaire that didn't even work and didn't validate any user input, but I've grown past that. Because although we didn't win MacBooks, and although we may have lost 36 very needed hours, we learned a lot about not only the technologies that we used and how to use those technologies, but also about what we could do as a team. We may have not won, but we still built a smartwatch from scratch that you could talk to and it would talk back at you. We were able to use sensor data, and we had made our own network, all of these things communicating with each other. Maybe the judges weren't impressed, but at the very least, each of us were, with what we were able to accomplish and what we were able to do. And like I said earlier, my friends and I were very used to losing. It's something that you could say we've gotten really good at. But that's not necessarily always a bad thing. Because, like they say, failure is life's greatest teacher. And this was just another one of their great lessons. And at the end of the day, we may have just become all the better for it. Thanks.